Hey guys, I'm going to do something a little different today, a little bit out of my normal routine. I'm going to test a backpack. First I want to show you the backpack, and then I'm going to test it because this backpack is made to enhance your personal protection. It has a level 3A panel in the back, and I'll show you how that goes in. So this backpack is made by Elite Survival Systems, and this is called the ECHO Everyday Carry Backpack. What makes it an everyday carry backpack is not only because you can throw all your normal everyday stuff in it like you would a backpack, but also it has special pockets on the back, one on each side, for your carry handgun. So if you're in a situation where you need to use an off-body carry solution, this is a good one to consider. I'll show you in detail what those pockets look like, but basically the whole back of the backpack is hollowed out. One side of it is completely Velcroed, and then you have a Velcro loop that acts as a sort of a belt slide type of holster. It's adjustable so you can fit it to your particular handgun. That's what makes it an everyday carry backpack. It's not just everyday for all your stuff, it's everyday carry for your everyday carry. But it also takes it a level further. Actually, it takes it a level 3 further, and that is equipping it with body armor panel that slips into the pocket in the rear and offers you some additional personal protection. That's a concept that several years ago none of us would have had even heard about. But in the last few years it has become a thing, and this year it has become a very real thing. I think almost anybody now who previously would have thought, well, why would I ever need a backpack that's got body armor in it, is now thinking, yeah, you know what? I bet I could use a backpack that's got some body armor in it. Here you go. Let me give you a quick look at the backpack itself and how it's configured. So you've got a lower front pocket that's sort of your administrative pocket, right? This is where you keep all your pens and paper, you know, a little pad of paper here, all your pens and pencils. You got a little hook for your keys that you want to hang maybe on your key ring. It actually goes down nice. It goes down below the fold a couple inches, so you've got a nice lower area to this pocket where you can have things in there and you don't have to worry about them falling out when you unzip this and open it up. I like that. It's also padded, very nicely padded in the front. All of the zippers are very well made, and they all have paracord on them, which is nice too. Okay, then we've got a pocket here right in the front. There's just a sort of a nice pocket to keep your stuff you need handy right out there in front. And then this pocket zips down about halfway into a very, very cavernous, I mean, I've got my arm all the way down in there, goes all the way to the tippy bottom. All kinds of loops so we can hang and attach all kinds of stuff in here, and that again is just one big space. Also has a nice padded front. And then we get to the huge, ginormous compartment behind that, and this goes way down. And I'm telling you, if you have a short barrel rifle or something with a folding stock, you could easily carry it inside this backpack. All right, this panel is a level 3A body armor panel. It's got all the information on the back. I will make sure I get a good clear photo of that before we destroy it so you can see all the specs. That's got an interesting smell. All right, I'm going to stuff this plastic right down in there so I don't litter up the range. And here you can see US Armor is the maker of the body armor, and this is a pretty standard panel. This panel is 10 inches by 15 inches, right? And it fits very nicely into this pocket in the backpack. I've also put, you can probably see it, I've put a little glow shot target in this pocket, which is just about the same size as this panel. And what that glow shot target is going to do is show me, because I'm going to put this panel in front of it, that glow shot target is going to show me if anything goes beyond it and hits it. I want something sensitive to any kind of an impact, because you guessed it, folks, I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to shoot it a bunch, and I'm going to shoot it with different calibers, different kinds of guns. Level 3A body armor is rated up to 44 Magnum, and today we are going to take it all the way to 44 Magnum. Backpack also has very, very comfortable shoulder pads on good nylon straps with quick detach points. Beverage carrier on both sides so you can keep a bottle of water, or, you know, maybe bear spray or whatever else you need to keep handy. And the big extra bonus to the everyday carry pack is, of course, this zippered compartment, and there's one on either side. It's very, very subtle. It's basically hidden behind the rest of the backpack. The type of use that makes the most sense for me is to carry the backpack on one shoulder with one strap, and this is the way I usually would carry a backpack most of the time. And then I would go to my left hand on the strap to hold the pack securely, and then with my right hand, it's real easy to find this zipper, especially with this paracord on it. Pull that zipper down, reach in, and out comes, without a whole lot of trouble, my Glock 19. And trust me, you could fit a much larger gun, and obviously you could fit smaller guns, but you could fit a much larger gun. I used the Glock 19 because I wanted to demonstrate something that everybody knows the size. Everybody knows how big a Glock 19 is, and so that was a good demonstration. So this is certainly a good alternative if you're looking for an off-body carry solution. And again, those pockets are on both sides. You've also got a nice breathable and soft fabric on the back. It's got this sort of mesh to it, so that's going to keep it from sweating up your back. That's also on the back of the shoulder straps too. This is a very well made backpack. All right, so I'm going to put this backpack on my friend here. And we're going to actually try to not hurt him. All right, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to obviously get my ears in so I can shoot. I'm going to load up some guns and start shooting at this thing. I'm also going to wad up some newspaper and put it in here because I want the pack to have a shape like it would have if it was full, but I don't want to fill it with stuff for two reasons. Number one, I don't want to screw up the test by shooting through things that are going to contribute to slowing down and stopping a bullet. I also don't want to shoot a bunch of stuff but it doesn't need shot. So I'm just going to wad up some newspaper and put it in there. I think we can all agree that some wadded up newspaper is really not going to offer a whole lot of protection against a projectile. So I don't think that's going to skew the test, but it will keep the backpack, I think, in good shape, you know, formed like it's full. So that's the plan. Let's get to it. Glock 19, I've got 15 rounds loaded. The first 5 rounds are 6 Hour Elite Performance V-Crown 124 grain, big old wide mouth hollow points. Just the kind of stuff that we want to protect ourselves from. Underneath those 5 rounds are 10 rounds of Federal 124 grain ball. Full metal jacket ammo tends to penetrate a lot further than jacket at a hollow point. So we're going to try both. I'm only about 5 yards away from that backpack. You can see that it's being worn by a fresh target. There are no holes or marks of any kind in that target. Okay, starting out with 9mm, and then we'll check and see how it did. I'm just going to put them all pretty much in the middle. All right, there's 15 rounds of 9mm. I think I just killed the resale value of that backpack. I'm glad the nice folks at Elite provided it to me for this testing. Let's go check it. Okay, let's check this out. I'm just gonna unzip, and again, I got my newspaper here. Well, this bag is definitely, this panel is definitely puffed way out. It is puffed way out. So I lift it out, you can see all my hits. You can also see that it is puffed out. Here we had some rounds go through the panel right there. My glow shot target has seen better days, but that could all just be from, you know, sort of bludgeoning type of impacts. I'm not sure either with this, what we're seeing here. I can actually feel the heat. I can feel the warmth inside there. Those bullets are still hot. All right, I'm gonna lay that down and I'm gonna look behind, and it looks like there is one. There is one mark that has come through the back of the target. I'll show you that. All right, so here's what it looks like. Here's what it looks like down inside the pouch. You can see some transfer from the label, and then it looks like a couple of perforations, and then on the cardboard target right down in here there looks like one perforation as well. So that was 9mm, and you can see where the impacts were on the front and again, just to show the back side of this panel. Okay, so we had that one perforation, and I'm not exactly sure what that was from, whether that was a bullet that actually went all the way through or not. It could have just been some, you know, a stiff jab or something like that. But needless to say, if you were wearing that backpack, at least 14 out of those 15 rounds did not break your skin. So far, it at least is effective in terms of preserving, you know, the wearer's life. Let's up the ante a little bit. I'm going to do 5 rounds of 45 ACP using the HK45 for that, and Sig Sauer Elite Performance 200 grain V-Crown. So again, big wide mouth stuff. Try and find a little bit of a different spot. All right, let me take a look, see what we got here. I can definitely see the rounds going in. I don't see anything coming out. So I'm not going to pull it apart at this point and look at it. It's clear that none of these rounds penetrated through the back of the panel. So that's good. That's what we're after. Well, that was 45 ACP. This is 10mm. That's right, we're raising the stakes. 10mm Sig Sauer Elite Performance V-Crown. There's definitely a pattern there, isn't there? And it is coming through the Sig Sauer P220 Legion. Single action only, 10mm. So here we go, 5 rounds of 10 millimeter. I think I'm seeing material flying out of the back. All right, let's take a quick look. Yeah, we got material coming through. Definitely got Kevlar coming out the back. Definitely coming out the back. I think we had full and complete penetration with the 10 millimeter. All right. So I think we're beyond the point of any kind of meaningful testing. So I'm going to say that right up front. For all of those of you who want to say something in the comments about my testing methodology, this is not scientific. It wasn't scientific from the beginning, and now it is absolutely nowhere near scientific. This part of the test, this part of the video, is what we call just for fun. There still may be something to learn because I know what part of it I have the penetration from the 10 millimeter, so I can aim in a different part and see, even though we all know that that really is going to be fairly meaningless. However, level 3A body armor is rated to withstand handgun up to and including 44 Magnum. You got to ask yourself one question. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that one. Well, you got to ask yourself one question, backpack. Do you feel lucky? Well, do you, backpack? 6 rounds of 44 Magnum. Or not. All right, let's try that again. Trying to find a different spot. Yeah, more material flying. Last one. That should be it. All right, that was 6 rounds, 44 Magnum. And that was Federal American Eagle 44 Magnum. Oh, hey, before I forget, the shirt I'm wearing, 32 Icon. 32 Icon is the name of a YouTube channel. This is a lady who does good quality videos about handguns, long guns, training, practicing, the whole 9. And she's very knowledgeable. She does great work. Go check her out. Okay, so 9 millimeter, 45 ACP, 10 millimeter, and 44 Magnum. But just for fun, because after all, fun is way more important than learning. I have a little bit of 357 Magnum, and I'm going to shoot some 357 Magnum at it too, just to say I did. So I think we all agree that we're beyond the point of any useful new learning experience here, since I have pretty much completely disintegrated that panel. So just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and put 6 rounds of 357 Magnum. This is Sig Sauer V-Crown, 125 grain, I believe. 357 Magnum. All right. Well, it means at least it managed to stay upright. I'll tell you what, after shooting 44 Magnum, this stuff feels like a 22. All right, let's see what we've got left of this and take it out and take a look at it. So it is pretty well, a lot of this Kevlar is like right through the back. Let me take this off of here. You can see there's the back of it. That's what we've done to it, folks. This was the 10 millimeter and this was the 44 Magnum for the most part, I believe. Well, I'm not certain of that, but I know that was the 10 millimeter. And you can see that 10 millimeter made it all the way through and punched holes in the cardboard. So if you had been wearing this and somebody was after you with 10 millimeter, it didn't help. But of course that's after having shot it up with the 9. So I believe, and I am not an expert, but I believe, I'm going to just pull this stuff through here, that the industry recommendation is that once these panels have been hit by anything, they have to be replaced. You don't just keep using it, you know, turn it over to a fresh spot, that type of thing. So really, if you were going to do a scientific test, you would have one panel for every caliber. And really, you might even have a panel for every round, you know, just do maybe at the most 2 or 3 rounds. But there we go. That's what's left of that panel. After all that shooting, which was considerable, we'd certainly put it to the test. All right, let's see what we can find out. First, let's take a look at the bag itself. Take out all my, well, I don't want to make a mess of the range, but all right, we'll open this up and you can see in here quite a bit of perforation. Well, of course you can see everything went through the outer pocket, and then there are basically 2 small groups that went through the inside back. And then if we turn it around and look at the very back, you can see again there's basically 2 groups that went through the back. We got several here, kind of a group here, and then maybe here. So there might actually be 3 different groups that penetrated all the way through. And again, I think, and the disclaimer here is, I am not an expert. That if you know the channel, you should know that pretty well. I am not an expert on almost anything. However, I'm definitely not an expert on level 3 panels in general. So what I'm going to try and do here is just open this up and see how it looks. So we have these layers, these 2 layers of mesh, and you can see some activity there. We've got there's a lot of layers here. I'll count them maybe later, let you know how many layers there are here. There's quite a few layers of Kevlar. This is all wadded up, where those bullets just really tangled. I can still feel heat. There's still warmth in here. But those bullets really did a number on this stuff. And of course we're getting a lot of bullets falling through here. Got some 9mm, maybe a couple 10s. I'm going to try and collect all these because they're fun to look at and see how they did expansion wise too. So that's kind of really the thing, is that you have to realize that these systems are intended to prevent full penetration and breach of a projectile, but that energy still has to be dissipated. And so, you know, we've all heard, you know, law enforcement and military people that have been wearing Kevlar and have been shot, who've had broken ribs and really bad bruising, and, you know, even some internal injuries as a result. Here's another one that looks like it's either a 45 or a 44, and it's extremely flattened. Okay, so I'm going to stuff all this in my bag, back in the backpack, and take it back home and analyze it further. Okay, so while the range work was good fun, I do want to be semi-serious about it. And again, I am not an expert, and if you wanted to be an expert on this subject of body armor, you're going to have to do a whole lot of homework. There's a lot of material. I have done some research enough to make me realize that you would have to be pretty dedicated to want to learn a lot about this in order to do that. And at this point in time, I am not that dedicated. So I did not do exhaustive research to make myself really smart on this subject, and I'm telling you that up front. But this is, you know, once you've destroyed the thing, like I have, then you get to kind of see the construction of it. These white panels, which I believe are Kevlar sheets, I'm not 100% sure of that. There are about 30 of those, thereabouts. And you can see how mangled they are, especially in one area where most of my shots hit. And then there's a very similar, but yellow in color, sheet, and there's about a dozen or so of those. And then you've got this woven stuff that I'm almost afraid to touch, because I'm afraid it's going to be like fiberglass and get me all itchy. But there's quite a bit of that, and it was on both sides, so that was sort of the wrapper, if you will, for the panels. But to the earlier point I was making, you know, once you have really compromised the panel by putting several shots in one area, like we did, the royal we, I guess, like I did, you really compromise it and you degrade it pretty quickly. So in light of that, taking 15 shots in essentially one small area, probably the size of my fist, into the vest with 9mm is a pretty rigid test. The little bit of research I've done, looking at testing mechanisms or testing criteria, I think in order to qualify as a level 3, a level 3A, whatever the case might be, the number of shots that are required are far less than that. Because once you've compromised it, then, you know, with each shot, it continues to be less and less effective. And so we made it all the way to, I believe it was shot number 13, before there was full penetration that we actually saw exit the back of the panel, go through our cardboard target, and then impact the ground. Well, that's pretty good. That means a dozen shots in a row in virtually the same spot were stopped by this panel, and that's fairly impressive. You know, once I got into the 44 Magnum and even the 10mm and all that, this thing was already in such bad shape that you really couldn't rely on it to be of any kind of protection. And so those were not tests, those were really just kind of fun demonstrations. Even so, it did stop a lot of that. It stopped all of the 45 ACP, I will tell you that. And got a couple of them here. But it did stop all of the 45 ACP, not a single one of those. There's probably the best one. But not a single 45 ACP slug penetrated all the way through. And that was the second group that I fired. So my non-scientific and non-professional opinion is that if I have a backpack or something similar and I have this panel in it, and I feel like I've given a little bit of thought to how I would deploy it or employ it for use, in an emergency situation. All of a sudden I find myself, downtown Portland on a bad evening, and somebody starts taking shots. I think if I practiced making myself small and get that vest up between me and where I think the danger is, I feel like it makes a difference, and I feel like it would potentially save my life. So bottom line is, as affordable as these things are these days and as accessible as they are, I think they're a good idea. I think it's something to have. I think you need to be realistic. I think you need to understand they're not magic and they're not infallible, and they're going to be able to help preserve your life, but you certainly don't want to hold this thing up in front of you and march toward the gunfire shouting obscenities. But maybe while you get yourself to good cover, this could act as something that, again, proper placement over your vitals and stuff, could mean the difference between life or death. Having this in your backpack is nice because, number one, it's inconspicuous. Number two, it can almost assure that you have it with you anywhere and everywhere that you would want to go. Okay, so there we go. We could debate and I could pontificate my opinion, but I think there is value to having these, and I think in this case, this one showed me, especially with that 9mm, with a dozen rounds in a row of 9mm, that it can make a big difference. So the question is, will I have a backpack that has one of these body armor panels in it? I think so. I think this is a smart thing to have around.